Hello, we are on episode 100 of JagaVision today. So that's 100 weeks of tea and good conversation with some fantastic folks. We're broadcasting our show live stream to YouTube and to Twitch. You can go to youtube.com/JagaSilk and you can find now 100 episodes. So pretty stoked about that. We have had some amazing guests on the show. We've done some really, I think, had some really good chats. We've looked at roast profiles more recently between different senchas, where we had Takaki-san on live from Japan, and we were comparing tea that I'd finished fired versus he'd finished fired, and he was giving me lots of great advice on that process. We were doing a live stream at a cafe here in Victoria where we were fresh milling matcha for their clients and making them tea, and there was some great questions and conversations that happened then. Request. Do you think you could turn off the music? Thank you. Sorry, I forgot to do that. Yeah, we're pretty stoked this week though to bring Pedro on from O5t. It's his third time on JagaVision. I consider him a good friend. My name, by the way, is Nyberg. I host the JagaVision shows, and I'm also co-owner of JagaSilk with my wife. You can check out our stuff on YouTube on JagaSilk.com. But for today, Pedro, are you there?
Yeah. Jared, how's it going, man?
Hey, man. How are you doing?
Good. The one time I come to JagaVision with a dress shirt.
Yeah.
And you up it up and you wear a coat and you have to be one step ahead.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, just no, it's good. It's good. I consider it almost like we're acting in a play. I used to when I started JagaSilk, I would go on sales visits with always with a tie, but I was generally a T-shirt at the time, so it was kind of like
nice.
we had a lot of fun. That was actually 2005, so it's been some years. We're almost at the big 2-0, man.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Sweet,
you and I met pretty early on, like 08?
09 Victoria Tea Festival in 09.
No, I was actually.
So yes, it's been a while.
I was fine. I was going through some old. Look at that. That's like.
Yep, vintage.
Vintage.
Yeah.
You know, like this is
nice, man.
I wonder if Pedro's in here. Did you do a talk in 09?
No. By no means. I just had a little stand and
you showed up.
I knew nothing, man. I was fresh off the boat.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah. There's so many companies on here that don't exist anymore. It's kind of amazing. But
it's true.
You still exist.
In one way or another. So the iteration that went to Victoria,
yeah,
no longer exists. It was reinvented and relaunched as O5.
Yeah, and
yeah.
For those watching, I mean, this is your third time on the show. I feel like those that watch regularly are going to know exactly who we're talking to. But maybe could you tell people that are new to the show and to yourself? Can you tell them about O5 and maybe just a little intro?
Yeah. Hey, folks. My name is Pedro. I own O5. We are based in Vancouver, BC. We have a tea bar, and we also have a wholesale company. We set up tea programs for anybody who wants a good tea program. Mm-hmm. Basic idea, it's pretty similar to Jared and JagaSilk. We go to Asia, hang out with farmers. We bring some tequila, make some friends, and bring it back. Been fortunate to make some really good tea friends in, of course, China and Japan, Korea, Thailand, Chile even, Taiwan, of course. And next month, but May 9th, I'm heading over to Taiwan to meet some new friends.
Nice. Okay.
Which
very cool.
should be fun. Yeah, my first time visiting Taiwan. I've done Laos, I've done Thailand, of course, but first time in Vietnam. So looking forward to northwest and some ancient tea trees over there.
You said first time in Vietnam, but you meant to say Taiwan, right?
No, first time in Vietnam.
Oh, first time in Vietnam.
I've never been to.
Oh,
never
okay.
been to. I've been to Taiwan many times.
Oh, okay, sorry, I
I've been to
misunderstood.
Thailand
It's
a bunch
me
of times.
who has not understood
Sorry,
what you were
man.
saying.
Nope.
Yeah, so you're going
First
to
time in
Vietnam. You know, a mutual friend of ours, Jacob, over at Miti, over in Czech Republic.
Yeah.
He was on the show live from the Czech, and he was talking about Vietnamese tea and quite excited about it.
That guy likes Vietnamese tea. He knows more about Vietnamese tea than most anybody I know.
Amazing. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
He actually just came up in conversation today because he's convinced that by smoking a cigarette that he recalibrates his palate to be able to taste his tea. So I don't know. I bet you that's not true, but he has a great palate. So I don't know.
It doesn't work for me, but
Yeah.
it works for that guy.
I think that the science is there for like destruction of taste buds, but who's to say, you know? But he's got some fantastic teas, and anybody watching should go and visit Miti if they're in Czech for sure.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, I think you introduced him to me. He used to work at your joint in Vancouver there. So
Yeah, true.
but you're out in your garden. You have some tea trees that you're growing. You want to show people?
Give you guys a tour.
Yeah. Sweet.
It's I wouldn't call it a micro farm because it's smaller than micro. So call it pico farm, femto farm, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. How many tea bushes are in your yard in Richmond?
5, man. They're 5. I was just taking pictures 4 years ago. They were tiny, and
so much better than mine. Mine have not grown since you saw them. I need to weed them. I need to transplant them. I need to give them some love. They are so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys are getting big, and this one here. He's the one that yields the earliest harvest year on year.
Okay.
This one's supposed to be a Korean plant.
Interesting.
And you'll see. Do
you know the cultivar name?
There's a bunch of. No.
You were on the show last
I have no
time.
idea.
We were processing some tea that you harvested from there on our.
We did from this guy. This is the guy that provided the Mimasaka Bancha.
Okay.
So this one here is supposed to be a Sochi tree, but see how big these leaves can get. Let me show you guys. Can you see that one? That's pretty much the size of my hand.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this one is supposed to be the same cultivar as this one, according to the garden that I bought them from.
Something seems a little bit.
One of these guys was mislabeled.
Yeah, I think so.
They're both supposed to be Sochi trees. One of them was clearly mislabeled.
Yeah, but it's
this
tea.
This guy, he's
right. It is tea. It's just not.
They're both tea.
Yeah, but one is.
They
one
yield
is
buds
smaller.
at different times of the year.
Okay.
Right. This one will be ready maybe next week. We're gonna have our first buds.
Nice.
This one. This is the guy that we're gonna be drinking today.
You know, I was thinking about your tea that we processed here. I sent some to you. Did you get a chance to drink it?
Yep.
Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah, of course I did.
Of the not just the one we did at the tea festival, but the one we did JagaVision.
Finished fired.
Yeah, when we finished fired it. What did you? Did it
it's
work
only
for you?
sweeter.
Yeah. Right. It's
yeah.
I was pretty stoked.
I don't know if it meets any criteria for being a great tea or whatever, but it made me happy to drink it. It was delicious. I tried to oversteep it, and it just doesn't oversteep.
No, you can just keep going, right? And
no.
And it was just
no,
like honey. Yeah, it was really good.
I got 3 solid steeps out of that tea. But I was happy. I think it was a good collab, man. I might need to borrow your finish firing system one of these days again.
Yeah, we should do it with your harvest. Maybe we can do some like finish fired here, and we can grow in. Of course, you're doing all the hard work, but then we can, Takaki-san.
This guy will have.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying that I think that this one will give me enough yield for a tea cake this year.
Okay, cool.
So we might have a single bush tea cake. Some finish firing will be required. So maybe we finish firing at your place.
Yeah.
And then I'll bring the pressing stone and we press a cake. Who knows? In 50 years, it might be worth something.
I'm into it. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So for what am I saying? So for we'll and we can even just try. We can mill some stuff. We can roast some stuff. We can figure it out. I'm just gonna switch the camera here for a second to slightly different style. Change layout. Let's go to tiled. And we'll just go as large as we can. Now everybody can see my drink prep area. I will go to here. Okay, so I have this tea that you sent me. I broke half the cake and sent half of it to Sister Speak, to Sherri Ann, who's supposed to be joining us from the passenger seat of the car and make tea with us. But I think she's going to join us a little bit later, and I think we needed to start this a little. So we might not see her today, but regardless. So we're making a white tea. We might as well, and you're making a different tea over there, but maybe we can make some tea, and then we can talk a little bit about this question that I had for
both
you.
Teas?
Yeah.
We're both going to be drinking white tea. So your white tea is from 2014, and it comes from the highlands in Yunnan, 2,000 meters above sea level, a place called Jino Mountain, and farmed by the Jino ethnic minority.
Sweet.
Mine is a white tea, and it's nothing close to. It's 1 week old.
Okay.
And it comes from this tree, and it was dried in the dashboard of my car because it's a fast way of drying it. Yours was very professionally dried in an
Excalibur.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, never mind.
Exactly.
I was thinking about the tea that we did together. That was a different one entirely. Okay, so
Different one.
Yeah, just.
But they're both white.
unable to complete thoughts. So I was imagining I have a 90 milliliter Gaiwan here that I would just drop in 4 grams of tea ish. Does that?
That's not a bad place to start.
Okay, I could go more. I could go less.
You know, if you believe my friends over in Japan and China, 4's a bad thing. So maybe make it 5.
Okay.
Now, the really cool thing about the tea that you have is it's very forgiving, man. It's one of those teas that will very, very seldom kick you back.
Okay.
So if you overdose a bit, let's say you go with 5 grams, and you do shorter steeps and you do more steeps, you're gonna be in good shape.
So how long? Like I'm gonna do a rinse, right? Like if there's some dust from the break, I should get one of those. No.
You could. You don't have to. I think that one in particular, the rinse is quite tasty. You totally could if you want.
I'm gonna drink the rinse, and then I'm gonna
I think
brew
it's
a little
good.
longer. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're also using hotter water. You're doing 90 degrees Celsius, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to be decanting. I'm gonna be using glass.
Okay.
Partly because I made this a few days ago, and I only have enough tea for a couple of servings.
Do you see this?
This is one of them.
That, sir, is a cattail.
Of course it is.
Isn't that the awesomest thing? I got this from the folks over at Bitterleaf Teas. They were on the show too.
It's amazing, man.
And and they got a good thing going. And,
and you like cats, and
you know, I was on their
we're
website.
drinking these in honor of Jaga, so.
And it said that they are a couple humans that are supervised by 3 cats in their bio. And like, I have to have them on JagaVision. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah,
right?
you just have more supervisors.
We have more supervisors. That's true.
Yep.
That tastes and smells like honey. Again, so there's like, you know, we were drinking some 2022 first flush Darjeelings this morning for our cuppings with the staff, and one of our crew kept mentioning it tastes like lemon balm. I got lemon balm in my head.
What?
I'm tasting lemon balm now. I don't know what's going on, but apparently everything tastes like lemon balm today.
Lemon balm now, yeah.
Balm.
I wouldn't have said so, but
No? Okay.
but you know I haven't tried that particular tea in a few months.
Okay.
So
I just drank the rinse,
maybe
like 3 seconds, like a 3-second rinse.
Yeah.
So I don't. So how long? I'm at a minute and a half. How long should I take this? You thinking 4 minutes or?
Oh no! You're there, man.
I'm there. Okay, I've overdone it. Okay, I will move quickly.
So here's the really cool thing.
What's up?
You can overdo it, and it won't be a disaster with that particular tea.
Okay, I have a Baimudan. It's a Fuding Baimudan, and it doesn't like to be steeped. Like I put in like
As long.
5. It needs like a super long brew to bring out what it has to say. So I'm always. It's interesting, but it's not packed into a cake like this. Does that? So you know the purpose of I have so many questions for you. But smelling, yeah, honey. Yeah, it's delicious. There's a little bit of smokiness, in a good way. Like Yeah.
Smokiness. Okay.
And then
You know,
that's
doesn't surprise me. It's Juneau Mountain, and they do have a bunch of bonfires. Everybody cooks on firewood,
mhm.
so definitely a possibility.
Sweet, very sweet. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good. That's nice, man. It's really nice.
Mine is not so much honey. It feels almost a bit Darjeeling-y in the sense that it has that Darjeeling first flush spice.
Okay.
Now the particular day when I harvested these leaves, and you can see them, they're quite oxidized.
Mm.
It was not the hottest spring day, so it took about 48 hours for these guys to dry. They usually dry in a matter of hours on the dashboard of my car.
Okay.
Um, in this case, it took more like 48. Hence, let me see if I can exemplify it. Can you see these guys right there?
Okay. Yeah.
That yeah, I still have some green in there, but they oxidize more than usual.
So this is I mean, this was the whole point of the conversation today. Is that a few cuppings ago, we were talking about, like, I've always thought, like, fermentation is the wrong word to use for enzymatic oxidation. So, and I think that's true. Like, most people have moved away from saying that teas are fermented, unless they're like a dark tea or like,
Fermented,
yeah, they're actually fermented.
right?
So then we
Unless
talk
they're
about
actually fermented.
So we talk about enzymatic oxidation. How I always have explained it is I say, like, there's a certain percentage of moisture loss during the withering process, and that's when somebody's talking about 80% oxidation. They're actually talking about moisture loss during that process of withering. And it was brought up that that's actually an incorrect way of well, JV, he brought it up. He's like, I don't know, is that true? Like, it's just kind of wondering about oxidation here, and oxidation versus withering. So then I went through a really great tea book, and this kind of was brought up because of white teas. We were drinking white teas with the owners over at Tecan, and it was brought to my attention that what I'd always thought, that tea, like white tea, is a very like minimal oxidation, was in fact incorrect, and that it's actually closer to a crimson tea. But now I'm kind of going backwards again. Maybe it is closer to a white tea because there isn't as much bruising of the leaves. So oxidative stress and moisture loss via drying are very different things. And
They are.
So
Yeah.
But I see a lot of people talking about, like, oolongs as, like, you got to have 80% oxidized to be like a darker oolong. Can you, from your perspective, you've always told me that that's all bull crap anyway. That we shouldn't be talking about tea this way. That the line between what is a Darjeeling and what isn't, like a crimson tea in Darjeeling versus an oolong in Darjeeling, is so gray that it's sort of a waste of time to try and put things in genres. But yeah, oxidative stress does help people, or like the differences in oxidation does help people understand different styles of teas. But anyway, just curious your thoughts on withering versus oxidation, and then sure on genres.
Right. I think there's value in putting things in genres because sometimes people can at least get an idea or some sort of consistency or can order in a more educated fashion from whichever supply they choose. They can express better what they want.
Right.
I also think that there are a bunch of the experts, erudites, whatever you want to call it, sages, that will just give you very different definitions for everything, and what somebody might define as a medium oxidized oolong might be considered black in some places, like for example the Himalayas.
Right.
I agree with you that there will be a different results in your leaves if you just allow them to oxidize but don't touch them, don't bruise them, versus if you actually manipulate those leaves and crush crush them and then allow them to oxidize. The result will be different.
Right.
Now, in both cases there will be some enzymatic activity. In some cases, there might be, I believe, a process of fermentation happening alongside your oxidation. Case in point, we spoke about, for example, Mimasaka Bancha, which, by the way, I wouldn't even consider an oolong or anything like that, or even a dark tea. But in Mimasaka Bancha, you boil the leaves, you keep the water, and then you sun dry them. But as you sun dry them, you spray them with whichever water the leaves were boiled in. I can almost guarantee that there's going to be some kind of microbial activity happening on those leaves.
Well, especially the ones you brought over, because you picked them and you brought them over the next day. So there's like that.
That there must have been some kind of microbial process, and then if you slow dry them and you sprinkle them with moisture, and all this happens outside,
yeah,
I think it'd be really hard for absolutely no microbial activity to happen on those leaves.
So there is a bit of that. Yeah, it makes sense.
I would pretty much just say it's a much more complicated world where whichever genre or buckets that we define are going to be imperfect.
Right.
I still think there's some kind of value in the imperfect genre, because it helps people, at least verbalize something relatively consistently.
That makes sense to me. But yeah.
Yeah, but we should potentially realize that the buckets aren't perfect, and it's not absolute.
No, but even when I was trying to define define those buckets, and I started bringing up this, like, what is, enzymatic oxidation versus withering, and I'd always use the term withering. So I have in here, there's a great book by Joseph Wesley Uhl. This is called The Craft of Tea. It's pretty awesome, and he was actually the fellow that introduced me to the concept of the Mayard reaction, which everybody knew about but me. But this idea of
and me, Matt, tell me what's the Mayard reaction. I don't know.
Okay, there you go. So Mayard is apparently it's the reaction that they talk about a lot in coffee roasting. It's cooking something. It's transforming sugars through heat. So when you're roasting coffee, you're dealing with Mayard. You're converting those sugars via,
which is your heat eater, right? Your finished firing, where you're changing your
that is totally finished firing is hanging out and interacting with
Mayard.
with our friend Mayard. Yes, it is.
Nice, man. Okay, now I know. Thank you.
There you go. So this is so I wonder if there's withering. All of these change. Chemical withering, on the other hand, is a more time-consuming process and facilitates the breakdown of complex chemicals in leaf cells, changing these complex chemicals into simpler chemicals that add body and flavor to a tea. If allowed, chemical withering can start the oxidation process. So here they are talking about them as two separate things. Depending on the type of tea being processed, the tea master may limit the amount of chemical withering a leaf undergoes to create the desired taste and aroma profile. Or, as in the case of most of the unoxidized teas, he may avoid such processing altogether. So very little touching, right?
Got it.
And then there's this Sha Qing.
Killing the green.
Yeah, almost all the teas undergo. So this is a great book for just like, I like the way that the discussions take place. Talks about varieties and cultivars and all that stuff. But when I was looking up white teas and here's Mayard. Also incorrectly known as browning, the Mayard reaction is most often associated with the unique flavors and aromas of steak, coffee, caramel, and toast. The Mayard reaction is a non-enzymatic browning caused by the condensation of an amino group and a reducing compound that results in complex changes in a food's aroma, flavor, and color. This reaction is
for example.
Exactly. Well, all tea, even the senchas, right? This reaction is extremely important in the creation of certain teas' desirable sweetness and nuttiness. So I actually think that tea that we finished fired here, that you grew and we processed together, that
we Mayarded
sweet,
afterward.
we sweetened it up via our buddy Mayard. Chemists at the University of British Columbia estimate that it may require the generation of 100 to 200 individual chemicals in the proper concentration and ratio to form one specific flavor in tea. Which is kind of interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice, man.
But then there's this other piece here that hold on. Yeah, it's good, right?
Okay. Yeah, super interesting. So what we're seeing is that there's a bunch of different phenomena that can be isolated, but that they often happen at the same time. And when they happen at the same time, it's very easy for us to just, bundle all them together and think that it's a very simple process, when in fact it's a bunch of things happening at the same time.
Right. Yeah. And so I guess when I was talking about like percentages and trying to be so reductionist in my understanding of the different tea genres, I knew I was being reductionist, and I would always have that disclaimer. But even in my reductionist mindset, I think that at the end of the day, it was just incorrect, because it isn't that withering and oxidation go hand in hand. It's
They sometimes happen hand in hand.
Sometimes
They might happen hand.
Yeah,
I hear, man.
But oxidation is really important for bringing out really interesting flavors. So there's where are we? There was this other piece that I wanted to read to you.
There's enzymes happening, and there's an exchange of electrons happening, and they might go hand in hand or not.
I guess it just brings more weight to your opinion you expressed to me back in the day, where genres aren't real anyway, and nobody's really sitting there at Origin, at least from my experience, with measuring tools, detecting moisture loss and oxidative stress levels. I think the moisture loss you could measure, and some people do, with weighing it before and after certain processes. But oxidative stress levels seems to be more like
on being over geeky. I should send you a couple of articles that I found.
Okay.
They were very specific to the creation of oolongs. Okay. And they analyze the effect of different phenomena on the development of different aromatic compounds in your leaves. Okay. One of them is for Oriental beauty, and they express the aromatics produced driven by the cicadas, the stress that the insects produce on the leaf, and right. They also analyze the effect of the leaves just being in a bucket covered by a wet towel in a warm environment.
Like a yellow tea.
So anyway, no, like in this particular case, Oriental beauty.
Okay, interesting.
They go that deep, and there's another one also on, I believe it's wee oolongs, and they'll give you a description of each and every one of the aromatic compounds that they detect throughout the process.
That's fascinating. What is this? This is
There are just two articles that I found about the expression of aromatics through the different processes of production of oolongs.
Interesting. Okay, because I'm so interested in that, and maybe I'll add to the description if you can text it to me or email it to me. Then I'll add a link to it in the description of this video afterwards for those that.
I'll do that, man. They were in last week's newsletter. I don't know if you received that, guy, but if you don't, I'll just forward you the newsletter. And
I want to be on your newsletter. How do I join? How do people watching join the O5t newsletter? Is it just on your webpage? Really easy.
O5t.com at the bottom of the page. There's a subscription link. Just enter your email. We don't spam. We send a newsletter every week, and the idea is to make it. It's business, of course. I must pay salaries and bills and all that stuff. So but the idea is to make the newsletter entertaining.
Yeah, we call ours Jaga Spam, and
nice.
and we try to do the same. We try to not make it spammy, even though it's in the name, do something. But I would love to. Maybe I'll even try and. I want to understand this because there's it is common for tea producers to slightly oxidize their white teas. This is after it's talking about how Shomei goes to like 90% moisture loss before any kind of kilgreen happens. But with some teas receiving up to 5 to 6% or even 10% oxidation, as if that's like this ginormous thing. It just made me think though, like what is normal? I don't even know. I'm so in limbo now. I don't even know anymore. Like I always thought, 10% moisture loss equals 10%. Like it was just a way of qualifying your tea before you go into the kilgreen process. Before you stop, at least you move to destroy the PPO enzyme from browning the leaf any further or withering the leaf any further. Like I thought it was that simple, but apparently it's not. So it's not that they equal each other. It's not like,
Yeah.
What?
I think there might be an answer to your question, very specific. If somebody really knows Shomei or Bai Mudan or there might be a very very specific reply to your question within a certain region, within a certain style.
Right.
I think that there's probably not a universal answer to your question because I think you and I tried a it was called 7-day white tea from Taiwan, and the leaves were. They were fairly large. They looked like let me show you. Like they were something like these, and they were green. If you recall that guy, and
Okay.
they were full, and it was supposed to be a process that took 7 days. I have no idea why they remain so green, but just thinking about this, I pruned my trees a few weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at the ground here, and there are some leaves that this was pruned 2 weeks ago, and this guy, which I just picked from the ground, arguably still has a decent amount of green. So
Interesting.
uh, there is that
Maybe
thing
it's
called Taiwanese 70.
the pick and drop. So I always thought, it was kind of like you pick like you cut an apple. The browning process is just going to happen. But I guess it just proves my ignorance, though, is that in reality, to make a tea leaf brown, you do have to do a little bit of bruising, right?
Not necessarily, Matt.
Okay.
I think no, I don't think so. So
Okay.
these guys browned a lot in,
Yeah.
in a couple of days.
Okay.
I think that there might be other factors that contribute to. I think if I take one of these large leaves,
Yeah.
it might take more than 1 week for that thing to actually be brown, and you and I have seen a bunch of white tea cultivars. White tea cultivars have this hair on the buds, right?
Right.
There's a lot of hair in Bai Mudan or Yinzhen or the likes.
Right.
I think that those features of those particular cultivars also help the leaf to oxidize less, which is why when you see Bai Mudan, there's a part of the leaf that's completely oxidized, the inner part of the leaf,
Yeah.
and the outer doesn't look that much oxidized because it's protected by all that down that you see on the leaf.
Interesting.
Whereas if you take another completely different cultivar, when we look at the white tea that we have from Georgia, by the Black Sea, the previous Soviet Republic,
Sure.
and you look at that white tea, there is no hair, there is no down on the leaves, which gives them completely different properties.
So it's going to oxidize at a different rate, and it's going to have
Completely different rate.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think there's a universal answer. I'm sure somebody will give you an answer that will sound universal for white tea. Somebody's going to be an expert in
Yeah.
Mudan.
Well, it just made
and
me
we'll
think,
give you
like, I don't want to necessarily restrict this conversation to white tea. It just came up while we were drinking white tea, and because I had assumed a particular sort of reductionist mindset for 10% moisture loss, then you kill green, very little manipulation of leaves. I was just wrong. Apparently, there's a lot more withering of the leaves that happens, but now I'm seeing that the oxidation of the leaves is actually still quite minimal. But what is normal? Like when we talk about like a dark oolong or like something that's been really heavily bruised or like that's been manipulated a lot.
Yep.
I'm curious, what does oxidation percentage even mean at this point? I'd always been able to qualify it before. I removal of moisture before kill green. That is
Right.
like
I think first and foremost in favor of reductionist mindset,
Okay.
which you've sort of disparaged a couple of times.
okay.
I think it serves a purpose. I think it serves as a starting point for a discussion.
Sure.
It's how we define the rules for this particular playground.
Sure. But is it even like I'm okay with that? But like, so should I not be saying the word enzymatic oxidation anymore? Like,
No, I
but-
do that
okay.
when it applies. I would totally do that. I think that in each particular case, when we're drinking any particular tea,
yeah.
we can describe the process or processes that are giving us the aromatics.
Right.
And we should potentially be open to the fact that the processes might not be, described or might not be. Or they are more complex than what we would expect, so that we could put things in a very defined bucket.
Okay.
There are like people, what if you go to
We're all
unique
unique snowflakes. Right?
you send me to a psychiatrist, I will get a long list of descriptions and conditions from such psychiatrist. And do I feel like any of them? Well, maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. But
So what is oxidation then? What is it? What is that? I guess I do want to find that out. I want to answer this very basic question because I feel like I'm lost now. I used to feel really confident about it, and now I don't anymore. So if you find anything that answers this question, that's sort of I'm okay with them pretending to know the answer. I'd love to
Really to know the answer?
I'd love to just be exposed to multiple versions of the answer, because there probably isn't one true answer, but like it'd be lovely if there's some sort of scientific perspective.
There is, man. So,
Yeah.
so there is a description of oxidation that will probably satisfy most people who studied chemistry.
Okay.
There's an exchange of electrons, and you remember your table of the elements and all the thing, and there's oxidation and there's reduction, and that depends on whether you lose or you gain electrons.
So if we talk about it, then oxidation of a white,
it's a loss. It's an exchange of electrons.
Let's say like a lightly withered oolong, a lightly oxidized oolong, versus heavily oxidized crimson tea from, say, the Assam Valley. What is the difference that's happening there? What is from the perspective of oxidation?
Yeah. So potentially here, sir, what happens is there's a very specific meaning of oxidation in terms of chemistry.
Okay.
What might be happening here is there are more phenomena happening at the same time. Okay. That might not be described completely by the term oxidation.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So there will be an exchange of electrons. That's definitely happened. Mm-hmm. If you have let me see. I've got I don't have anything iron here, but if I had a nail, like an old nail, you would see the effects of oxidation. You have iron, and then you have that reddish thing, which is iron oxide 3+.
Right.
That's pretty much oxidation. But maybe in that chunk of iron, there's some contamination because it's gathering whatever minerals are leaching it on it from the wood. So there's another thing on top of the oxidation that's happening on that chunk of iron. Okay. So maybe if you want to describe the two different teas that you wanted, we might be better off by describing the different processes that they have been submitted to.
Okay.
And if we have the analytical capacity or the literature, going to some of the articles that I just mentioned that describe what for example, what kind of aromatic compounds happen by the enzymatic stress that's caused by insect bites on a tea leaf.
Right.
Like, dude, that's a very, very specific action that is yielding certain aromatics.
So maybe we're talking about, because they often say the words enzymatic oxidation. So maybe by having that combination, by having that adjective, enzymatic, or is it adverb? My grammar. It would be interesting. We've actually gone past our time. I'm so sorry. We're at 2:37.
I should run soon.
I should go
get my little guy.
Okay, so
it has been a pleasure, though.
It has been a pleasure.
Throw a dandelion in my white tea just to add some flavor.
Yeah, you are, and we'll continue this conversation. Maybe in your newsletter, people want to go sign up. They can find you again at O5t.
O5t, letter O, number 5, TEA.com.
Amazing.
They might find me every now and then in Victoria, hanging out with you guys and drinking some tea or collaborating in some
capacity,
tea firing or doing a hopper exchange and getting some tencha from JagaSilk and O5.
And I got my pasteurizer, so we're gonna be doing those.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
I'm super stoked. So we'll be talking about that too. So. Anyway,
I must go there after Vietnam, man.
Thank you
for the invite as always.
I really appreciate you coming on the show, making this time. I know you're very busy, so huge appreciation and peace and love, man. We'll see you later.
Thanks, brother. Take it easy.
Bye. Okay, so that was Pedro from O5t joining us, and we had a really good time talking to him. And it looks like Sister Speak has joined just as he's leaving. So amazing. All right. Hello, Sherri. Sister Speak.
Hello,
Hey.
bonjour.
Hello, bonjour. It's interesting because Pedro just hung up like 2 seconds before you joined the call. So we had a really great talk. We were talking about enzymatic oxidation versus withering and trying to understand what it actually meant for all these different tea genres. But Sherri, you're joining us from the East Coast.
Yeah.
And you have some white tea with you. Is that?
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm talking so quietly. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can totally hear you. No problem. Yeah.
I'm in a cafe in Montreal right now.
Nice. Okay.
It's a vegan cafe, and I just don't want to be like talking too loud, but it's really cool in here. And I have the white tea with me, and I ordered a matcha latte as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, you did. Okay, awesome.
I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if you wanted to talk to the owner about supplying them with tea. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. No.
Get you on a call right
Yeah,
now.
amazing. Amazing. Yeah, no, we had a really good chat. Kind of, I guess I could summarize it for you is that he was making some of this. I sent you some of this stuff. This white tea from. It's called White Moonlight. It's from Gino. Can you see that? Okay.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
I have the Duffo long. There's a white reserve tea. Is that his as well?
No. That's a different one. This one is. I think this might have been come in the package that didn't actually make it to you in time.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
be making that on Wednesday.
Yeah, so maybe we can talk about it again. But yeah, no,
Okay.
we had a good time. We were talking about like I was just really lost because I've always told people that oxidation no problem that oxidation is a result of withering tea leaves and letting them lose moisture, and their exposure to air was producing the flavor compounds. And I think it was just a good conversation about how many more layers there are to that conversation. So
Oh, interesting.
there's a certain amount, like we say, there's no real fermentation happening, so no real microbial activity. But Pedro was saying that's actually can't be true because there's moisture and dampness and air. Like you might not be adding like specifically a culture like in sourdough or in yogurt, right? But
Yeah.
you're gonna be having microbial activity for sure, and that's going to produce aromatics for sure, at least contribute to them. And then the other thing we were talking about is just and withering and drying, and the speed of that drying is gonna affect that activity. And then there's also the enzyme that we talk about that helps to like kind of brown the leaves and produce more flavor compounds is also a part of that. So anyway, he has a sort of an article that he's going to send over to me that I'm going to put into the link for this description that covers a study where they actually looked into the effects of taking the same tea and exposing it to different sort of oxidative stressors. So moisture in a bucket. This one was like cicadas ate the leaves a bit and sort of like damaged the leaves. And what did that do to the flavor? And it's like the same tea, but taken through different oxidative stressors, and then sort of trying to understand what happens when it goes through different pathways from a sort of an oxidative stress perspective. It's kind of interesting. And that is
Thank you
flavor.
so much.
So that was.
Thank you so much. That's so fascinating.
How is it? What are we drinking?
I
We're
haven't
doing
tried
matcha.
it.
Okay, matcha latte. Let's listen. So matcha latte, random vegan cafe in Montreal.
Yeah, forgive me if I'm. I did find that very fascinating.
I know,
Forgive me if my phone might lose battery, and if it does, I can always pop on to Joel's phone.
We are all good. We're all good. I think we're just wrapping up anyway. Let's see what a matcha latte tastes like in Montreal.
Okay, this is Cafe 123. It's a
Okay.
vegan cafe in Monkland.
Okay. Did they knock it out of the park?
Oh, that's really good. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's
Sweet.
great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Good for them.
It's really good.
Fantastique. All right.
This is really cool aesthetics, what you say. It's so
works.
interesting.
It does. It works. It works. It totally works. No, that's
It's okay, so it's delicious. It's kind of missing that freshness. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Right. Well, that's, oftentimes when you can get fresh matcha, but it's often sold to cafes in large quantities, and it's really easy for that freshness to dissipate. And that's a different kind of oxidation, rather than the enzymatic oxidation that we're talking about.
Yeah. Is this honey or maple syrup? Oh, and there's maple syrup from Quebec.
Nice.
I'm gonna add it to it.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Can I try your latte as well? Let's see how this latte tastes.
Okay. And
Oh my god, with the maple syrup, it's so good.
nice.
Here, I added maple syrup to. Oh yeah, maple syrup. Here, you
Amazing.
can add more.
Amazing.
So we're in Quebec, and obviously there's a lot of maple syrup here. So wherever you go somewhere, you can even get soda water with maple syrup in Vermont and Quebec.
Okay. Nothing. That's cool.
So you can add it to anything pretty much, and it's all like it's like legit, real, really good stuff.
Sweet. So what do we? Maybe you want to whisper to those watching? What's going on in the world? What's going on in the world of Sister Speak?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm playing a show tomorrow.
Too loud.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
perfect. That's
How
perfect.
about now?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so I'm here to pick up a speaker actually.
Okay.
At Long and McQuaid.
Amazing.
And I'm gonna be playing a show tomorrow in this really cute lodge in Vermont.
Very cool.
And then a summer tour with the full band happens in August. It's going to be in Germany, Vermont, and British Columbia, and California in the fall.
British
So
Columbia.
that's what's happening. Yeah, and it looks like we're going to make the JagaSilk August. I got it in the calendar, August 13th.
Okay. Well, we just got to make it happen. Yeah, musical.
Yeah, we got a little more work to do, but I think it's like 99.999%.
Musical Tea series. And the first one being May 14th. Did we confirm that first act?
Oh, I got to get that email out actually right now.
Okay.
I'm kind of in traffic all day, so.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, well, I think we're once we get that confirmed, we have the whole series set up, and it's gonna be exciting every month. May, June, July, August, September, October, and then and we're gonna be doing tea. We're gonna be serving tea. I'm trying to. I don't want to make promises on JagaVision, but I'm trying to get the cold brew, unsweetened cold brew iced tea in the champagne bottles ready in time for the first show, and we'll do tea service in champagne glasses if all goes according to plan. So we'll.
Oh, that's so fun!
Yeah,
I can't wait to we're gonna be coming back from Europe and be landing and coming over to the island. I'll be sitting there all afternoon. Actually, I'll be playing all afternoon.
Yeah. But there'll be some sitting. There'll be some tea drinking.
I'm guessing we're sharing everything, right?
Thank you so much. This is so incredible. Wow. Sorry.
Bowls there and
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
And
Merci beaucoup.
for those watching, they can find your project at, amazing. Okay. SisterSpeakMusic.com. And
That's the one.
We've been sponsoring Sherri in her musical journey for the last very nice looking for almost 10 years.
Vegan mac and cheese. Yeah.
And or is it more than 10 years? I think it's over 10 years now. Yeah.
Yeah.
We see the JagaSilk cat on posters all over the world, and pretty stoked about that. And you do a show every 2 weeks, I think now, on your Patreon.
Yes.
So patreon.com/sisterspeak, I believe, last time I checked.
Yeah, today's was from actually Petro Canada /Subway /McDonald's complex in the wind.
Nice.
And it almost blew over my computer.
Of course.
It was really fun.
Good.
Yeah.
But you got it off. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay. So, and then those that want to check out your tour can do so. New album came out. It's awesome. People can stream that and check it out. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining from the road. Like, super awesome. I hope you get a chance to try that white tea, and maybe you can do us a favor and you could make a comment on the YouTube video after you've given it a chance to drink it, and let us know what you think for that white tea from Pedro.
I'll make it happen.
All right, awesome. Well, good luck in the rest of your travels. Super appreciate you coming on and making the time like you do. You're our honorary co-host, JagaVision. This is episode 100. I think you've been on almost like all 100 of them. So that's almost, that's feeling pretty good about that. Episode 100.
97.
Yeah, I think you've been on 97 of them. Yeah, that's right.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Okay. You take care.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Rock on.
Rock on.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so that was Sherri from Sister Speak joining us live from Montreal on the road there, and then we had Pedro joining us from his garden in Richmond in front of his tea plants. One of the owners, or the kind of the main operating owner of O5t, and then we had a good time trying to find our way out of this limbo that we find ourselves in when it comes to oxidation and understanding understanding tea. I guess there is no real answer, but we'll try and find something. So the journey continues. Join us next week, 2 o'clock, every Thursday, 2 p.m. Victoria time. You can check out old episodes on youtube.com/JagaSilk. And look forward to having you on. I'm Jared Nyberg. Go check out our stuff, JagaSilk.com. You can buy the white tea that we drank today, though, on O5t.com. That's, I think that's at O, like the alphabet O, and then 5, the number 5, and then TEA.com. You should see the link in the description below. Thank you so much for joining us, and have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day.